do we think of the new Frasier? I've watched the first 3 episodes here in the UK, and I've been pleasantly impressed, though it's a very, very different show from the long-running series that precedes it. First of all, what do I think of the new scenario? Well, they've kind of cleverly replaced characters and switched some situations around. So his son becomes rather like his father, and his old buddy from university is, I think, a replacement Niles. So more of that soon. So who are these new characters? So Freddie Crane, or Freddie Sternum, is now played by Jack Cutmore-Scott, who appears to be a British actor, so shows how much I know about some of the modern talent around, and I think he's doing a pretty good performance. He's obviously highly intelligent, as he was in the first series, but he is now a fireman, and this is what I mean about he's a replacement for Martin Crane. He is kind of down to earth. We haven't seen his buddies yet, really. We saw a few in a bar, but I think there's more to come there, and that's pretty good. Then we have the offspring of Niles and Daphne, and David is played by Anders Keith. He was a bit of a spare part in the first show, which I think is kind of what his character's supposed to be, but we've had some hints that he's sort of got his mother's sort of psychic perception and very much his father's neurotic tendencies, but perhaps we haven't seen his snobbiness yet. We have Jess Salguero as Eve, who is a sort of flatmate, but it's a bit more complicated than that. And we have Tox Olangodoye as Frasier's boss, as he's taken a job at Harvard University. She's competitive, ambitious and determined to put the psychology department on the map. Finally, controversially on the fan forums, we have Rodders, good old Rodders, Rodney from Only Fools and Horses, who is of course Nicholas Lyndhurst. He's a sort of a national treasure, although I think a lot of us here in the UK think that his acting's a bit iffy. And he plays somebody that Frasier met when he spent a year or so in Oxford studying, and this guy came over to Boston to work at Harvard a long time ago. There are some plot holes here. We don't really know why he wasn't friends with Frasier when Frasier spent a lot of lonely hours at Cheers, I think, trying to fit in and looking for meaningful friendship, so that's a bit of a plot hole. I believe we're going to have Roz and Lilith sometime in these first 10 episodes. So it's a fairly good start, as you would expect in this online world of division. The fan forums are bitterly opposing one another. Some people are saying give it a chance, this is the best thing ever, and other people are saying it's terrible. Typically I'm somewhere in between, but I'm more warming towards let's give this a chance because it could be really interesting. Something else I wanted to say, what's the look and the feel of the show? Well, they've retained all the title cards and the black and white insert cards. The theme tune at the end is remade, but very, very similar to the original tossed salads and scrambled eggs. So yes, it's the same in that sense. What does it look like? I'm fascinated by this. I have this theory that American set designers must be very binary in their thinking, because Frasier's Seattle apartment, well, it was almost like a character in itself. It was a wonderful piece of work. Now he's in a much more cramped apartment. I think we're to understand that the apartment block isn't sort of, high end, but the colours, the tones, the furniture, everything screams Cheers. So set designers I think in the US just think, oh, is it on the West Coast? In which case we'll do very light and airy and things like that. Or is it on the East Coast and it's all old world, oak, wood, browns. It's definitely got similarities to all of the houses that you saw in Cheers, and even all the wood panelling of the Harvard University classrooms reminds me of the wood panelling of Cheers Bar. I think it's very interesting. I don't know if it's intentional, but I feel at this stage that that look and feel, which lacks the sophistication of the Seattle years, is just giving the show a bit of a, making it feel less sophisticated, and perhaps the humour at the moment seems less sophisticated. We are missing David Hyde Pierce as Niles. We're missing him enormously, because that constant friction and one-upmanship between the two brothers was just well, it was the killer thing that made the Frasier spin-off so amazing. So good start, going to stick with it, be interested to see where it goes, but there's certainly scope for improvement. But I think it's good to have Dr. Crane back, and I have to say Kelsey Grammer hasn't put a foot wrong on this. His acting is superb. Welcome back, Frasier.